Center for Educational Media and the College of Education at Middle Tennessee State University are proud to offer professional development to K-12 educators in Tennessee through our online video library. These videos are aligned with standards set by the Tennessee Department of Education. For more professional development videos, check out our website at www.mtsu.edu/CEM.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us. My name is Leah Simpson. Today, we're going to be talking about circles and spheres of influence. First, I want to introduce myself. As I said, my name is Leah. I work at Warren County High School in McMinnville, Tennessee. So we are a large high school in rural Tennessee with about 2,000 students roughly. Our majority minority is the Hispanic population, or Latinx, as I know some like to call it. I, at the high school, work specifically with special populations. My past background is ELA, and I also taught ESL for 2 years. While I was teaching ESL, I learned that many of our minority students need extra help with the post-secondary ed process. So I was working on my master's at the time, and I wrote my big thesis paper basically on undereducation in America, and specifically on post-secondary education opportunities with the minority population. That grant, I received a grant to fully funded through the Scarlett Family Foundation, and I was the minority liaison here at the high school for about 5 years. And my title just briefly changed a little bit this year to special populations, introducing a different aspect to it, but that is my background, and that is the population that I've helped with for many, many years, specifically with post-secondary education. I'm going to let Brent introduce himself. Brent is my brother-in-law, and I'm going to let him tell you more about him.
It's like Leah said, my name is Brent Simpson, and I have been teaching for 10 years in the States. I started off teaching in Mexico after getting my degree in Spanish. I taught English there for 3 years, came back to the States, and taught adult ESL for close to 2 years, and then started this 10-year journey in public education. I am endorsed to teach ESL, biology, Spanish, and math K through 12. Currently, I teach only Spanish 1 for heritage speakers. Those are speakers who speak Spanish at home or have, prior knowledge of Spanish. In the evenings, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I teach adult ESL, and I'm also a certified medical interpreter.
So we are going to put our knowledge base together, cross-collaborate, and we interact with many of the same communities. And so that is kind of our introduction. I'm first going to talk to you about scholarship opportunities for minority students. We've heard your voice. We've heard that's what you want to hear more about. So we will discuss post-secondary education. We're going to talk about being an ally to the community and an overall community value with our specifically, mostly with our Hispanic population and from our knowledge base in Warren County. If you did not know, Warren County is the nursery capital of the world. And through that, I'd say because of that, and because we had a large population of migrant workers in the past, and now, fortunately for us, we love them. We have had many families stay and join us. And so we have a large population of Hispanic community here in Warren County. So we will move on. Brent, did you want to add anything there?
No.
So first, we will talk to you today about scholarships. I would like, and if you will see my email address right there, if you will send me an email, I've created a document, and it's the college going process. I have one for undocumented citizens, like those who have DACA or equivalent, like the visa process, but I also have one for citizens. So one thing that I wanted to hone in on is there's specific scholarships that I like to call my big three that I really like for our students. Those who are not U.S. citizens, they are not eligible for Tennessee Promise. And I really want them to look at, and the first thing I do is I sit down with a student. I'm like, do you really want to go to college? Because I'm not going to make you do something. And I've learned that through trial and error. That you're not wanting to do. So if you really want to go to college, the top scholarship that I want you to look at is called the Golden Door. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with Golden Door, but it is based out of North Carolina, one of our neighboring states, and it is a fantastic scholarship. I've had 2 of our students in recent years get a fully funded scholarship through the Golden Door. They really hone in on STEM majors. So those science, technology, engineering, mathematics majors, they love STEM majors with Golden Door, and they have partner schools, much like a Questbridge type would have. You would choose a partner school, you will write an essay, and there's a whole interview process for Golden Door. And that is typically due each year, roughly around October. So they really need to, and that is for seniors. So if you have a student, and I like to start even as a freshman to let them know that I believe in goal setting theory. So I believe that if a student knows their freshman year that, hey, I do have a chance at becoming the doctor that I want to be one day, that there is a way that I can go to college to get a degree and to continue my education, that I feel like they will do better throughout their 4 years of high school. I've seen that come into play. And also, it is very vital through these scholarships that they're a well-rounded individual. They may have many opportunities. They may have to work a lot at home, and that's fine too, because these scholarships that are geared to them understand family responsibility, but also they do know that there is you are able to, like at our school, you're able to be in clubs. And so I think that's very important to be involved, to make good ACT scores, and to write a good essay. So the Golden Door is due every year for seniors in October. And that is one of my top scholarships that I love. The second one that I really, really love was created by Dr. Spalding. He was a wonderful individual. If you've not read about him, I encourage you to Google him. Dr. Spalding created Equal Chance for Education. Equal Chance for Education is Middle Tennessee based, but they are expanding to the eastern part of the state and the western part of the state. Equal Chance for Education is typically due around March 1st, and they too are interested in a well-rounded individual, but I will say they're not as STEM specific. For those students who really want to stay closer to home, just to go back for a second to Golden Door, my 2 students that received the Golden Door Scholarship did have to attend college in North Carolina. That was one of their partner schools that they chose. You can see a complete list of their partner schools at the Golden Door if you look at their website. But Equal Chance for Education is typically, for me, the way I differentiate with students. If you want to stay closer to home in the Nashville area, in the Tennessee area, especially Equal Chance for Education would be one of the scholarships that I would look at. Those, you cannot be a U.S. citizen and apply for either Golden Door or Equal Chance for Education. So those are specifically geared to our non-U.S. citizens, and they're really predominantly looking at private institutions because that is the best in, if you will. Another school that I want to point out that is not a member of Golden Door or Equal Chance for Education is Sewanee, the University of the South. They meet full financial need. Their application is due November 15th. And if the student can show full financial need, that might be a good opportunity for them as well. I recently, and this is not on the PowerPoint, but I just got back from a conference at Berea College in Kentucky. And Berea is phenomenal. They have what they call the Dr. Samuel Hurst Scholars and the Dr. Carter Woodson Scholars. Both Hurst and Woodson were both alumni of the institution. And Berea College also meets basically full financial need, for lack of a better term. So I encourage you to look at Berea College as well. The difference with Berea is you need to have some sort of visa. So take that into consideration, or be willing to get a visa. With Golden Door and Equal Chance for Education, that is not necessary. The third scholarship that is not necessary for that is called the Dream. The Dream is usually due every year around February 28th. Essays and resumes are an important process of this, and I have sample essays. I have sample financial needs. If students would like to see those, please shoot me an email and I will be happy to oblige you and give you some examples as well as this cheat sheet, if you will, because the first step with all of this is to complete your college application. If you're applying for Golden Door, if you're applying for Equal Chance, if you're applying for the Dream, I encourage you to look at all three of those scholarship bases, look at their website, become familiar with their website, become familiar with the process, especially in case deadlines were to change, but also they have partner schools. Equal Chance for Education's partner schools are Cumberland University, Christian Brothers, etc. There's a multitude of, I think David Lipscomb is one of them as well. So take a look at their partner schools, apply to their partner schools, apply to get in. Also, one thing to be of note is your ACT score. Typically, if you meet the financial requirement, you are able to get free ACTs throughout the year through your school. So always make sure and talk to your ACT holder and see if that is the case. Apply for those scholarships. Apply early. Don't wait to the deadline to apply, because with some of them, you have to submit additional documentation. You want to make sure that documentation goes through and they don't need you to resubmit. Another thing, apply to every scholarship you can. And there are some scholarships that will allow you to apply even if you're an undocumented citizen. And so take a look at those, see what those are, and apply to as many as you can. For example, here at Warren County High School, we have about $80,000 worth of local scholarships alone that do not require one to be a citizen. I always, in their financial considerations, I encourage them to just put, hey, I'm not eligible for Tennessee Promise. I need this extra scholarship. I've received the Golden Door, for example. I'm going to school at Meredith College in North Carolina. I need assistance with dormitories and I need assistance with fees and books, and please help me. So that's kind of my full process for the scholarship. So if you would like this document, please send me an email at the email address below, and I'll be happy to help.
So something that Leah and I do to help prepare students for post-secondary opportunities is, since I teach 2 heritage classes, Leah will come to those classes and share these opportunities with my heritage students. I'll prepare them by having them explore options. They take a career aptitude assessment before she comes, and also give them a list of questions, a series of questions that they have to a form they have to fill out before she comes in. So they're prepared to ask her questions that aren't off the cuff, but are prepared once she comes into my heritage classes. And that has really gone a long way in turning attitudes around. One student in particular comes to mind, who's just had a complete attitude change, is excited to explore college and career opportunities. Her name is Maria, and yeah, it's just made a big difference. We've done that last year and this year, and we'll continue to follow up with those students. And yeah, it's just been great working with my sister-in-law and on helping these students start thinking about, even though some of them freshmen, sophomores, what they're going to be doing once they graduate. Because for most of them in that age range, they're just putting it off until their senior year. But like Leah mentioned earlier, it's never too early to start thinking about and start planning what you're going to do once you graduate high school.
And I really believe, like Brent was saying, the goal setting theory has a big way here. Like, if they know that there is a goal that is achievable and that it's not that difficult, and that there's someone here there to help them with the process, then it's not as scary and it's more attainable. And then like he said, attitudes change, and it's just a domino effect that, hey, I do have a future. I'm not just goofing off just to get by until I graduate after 12th grade. So The next part, we're talking about being an ally and being an ally to this community. One way that we were going to talk about being an ally is the Multicultural Club. So Multicultural Club is something that we have here at our high school, and it was established to kind of as a way for students to learn more about other cultures and encompassing multiple cultures. So with Multicultural Club, we meet. I'm a co-sponsor of this club. We meet. We try to meet once a month, but we're working on we had a club period that we could meet during at our high school. We are changing schedules, so we're trying to find time for that. But we still have the Multicultural Club. We meet as needed. We have officers. We one of the things that I love about the community that we have with Multicultural Club is we help other students in need. And if there is a sudden loss, we had some students suddenly lose their parents this year. We raise funds for them. We are currently working on a Valentine's Day dance that will also be a fundraising opportunity. But we also take field trips to learn about other cultures. In the past, we have attended the Greek Festival in Nashville. We have attended the Powwow that also takes place at Long Hunter State Park just to visit two other cultures. And we've also been to plays, and we've also visited MTSU's campus as well as other college campuses with cultural events that are taking place. We also have a Black Student Union here at Warren County High School, and we do a Friendsgiving together. So our two clubs come together, and it's really just been a place for students to feel loved, to feel like they have a place that they could come to for love and support. And they have supporting teachers that care about them and want them to know more about the rest of the world, whereas some students may never get out of Warren County, Tennessee otherwise. So we have found that having a home, if you will, our club is predominantly Hispanic, but it is open to all. But having a home for those students has gone a long way with the culture of Warren County High School and just show love. And I'm going to let Brett talk about some more.
Yeah, so like I mentioned in my introduction, I teach adult ESL here in Warren County on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I know Rutherford County has lots of adult ESL classes, and I see a lot of overlap with students and parents. I'll often have students that will just be a month or two too old to enter the school system. So they'll come to my classes and I'll help them work on getting their HiSET diploma. It's a great resource. If they're in Rutherford County, you're not in touch with your adult ESL teachers in the county, I strongly recommend you do that because they have a connection to many of your students' parents, particularly those parents that have, low English proficiency. They really need more contact. They need more support because of that language barrier. I find myself often being the person to let them know when school is canceled, and other information like parent-teacher conferences. They just wouldn't know about it because often those mass messages that go out don't have the Spanish translation. So again, that's just a great resource. And speaking of spheres of influence, there's a connection to be tapped into there through those adult ESL classes in any county in Tennessee, because almost every county in Tennessee will have adult ESL classes.
And I feel like some of this is common sense, but like Brent was saying, if you're just their ally, if you're just there for support, their sphere of influence is so large, they'll talk to one another within their families, within their friendships, and within their churches. And once they know that I have an ally that I can come to, I have been here at Warren County High School since 2013, and I I'm a relationship-based person. That's how I get to know people. That's how I thrive. And I've been to the quinceañeras. I've been to birthday parties. I've been to weddings. I've been to funerals. I've been to church events where my student's father was the pastor. And once they know there's an ally that they can come to that has a relationship, I found that I've had students that will come to me and they say, hey, my cousin told me to come talk to you. I'm pregnant and I don't know what to do with my schooling. And I'm like, okay, now who are you? Because I might not know who they are personally, but when I dig deep, I realize, yes, I did teach your cousin, and let me help you find the resources that are needed for you to move forward, because they just need someone, and this is with any student, they need someone on their side to be their ally, to show that I support you. I will help you find the resources, because 9 times out of 10, there are resources available for any situation. It's knowing where to find them. So one resource that comes to mind is the American Job Center. I know that there's contacts in Rutherford County. I can give you the phone numbers if you send me an email to my previous listed email at simpsonl@warrenschools.com. There's an American Job Center in Franklin. There's an American Job Center in Murfreesboro. And what they do is they help students find jobs, and then they can help them, like I mentioned, the student that was pregnant, they can help with daycare funds while they're working. It can help them with daycare funds while they're going back to, let's say, a TCAT in a work-based field. There's a lot of resources that are put into the system for students that are going to go into, and that includes even non-U.S. citizens at times, that are going to go into a work-based field, such as like your welders, such as your machine tool in, there may be some opportunities for cosmetology and nursing. So I encourage you to reach out to your family resource centers if you have one. If not, look to see if you have a family resource center. Look to see if you have an American Job Center. And if you are not familiar with McKinney-Vento, please familiarize yourself with McKinney-Vento, because that can often help students as well. So the American Job Center numbers for Rutherford County and Murfreesboro, and then another number for Franklin. I have those available. If you were sending me an email, I'm happy to share with you. Anything else on this slide, Brent?
Well, I just want to add that at our adult education location, the First United Methodist Church here provides us with the location for free. I didn't know that for the longest, and I think that's just amazing that we're able to use their facilities as often as we do. Now, we don't have a job center here in McMinnville, but any adult ed school is going to have that resource, that website. They're going to know how to point students in the right direction as far as looking for work goes. So they don't have to live in a large area to be able to take advantage of the expertise of people in adult education. So just want to put that out there and remind anyone who's listening that if there's an adult education center in your county, that's going to be a good resource to help students, any student, find career opportunities.
One thing I wanted to note on being an ally is, I know one of the things that's a hot topic right now with counselors and any college centers that you may have is the FAFSA. The FAFSA has been completely revamped. And if you have any students that are eligible to do the FAFSA, meaning they have a social security number, then what I have found oftentimes with many of the students I help in our with our minority students is that the student can do the FAFSA, but the parent is unable to complete because they do not have a social. And that is something that's happening often right now. And if you have any additional questions about that or need help, please shoot me an email as well, and I can help on a case-by-case basis, because everyone is different. Everyone's situation is different. Going back a slide and talking about equal chance for education, for example, they do not want those students to do a FAFSA. So don't let schools or someone who is not as knowledgeable with our community talk you into doing something that might be harmful. So again, it's a case-by-case basis. If you have a question, please send me an email and I can help you find the answer or find someone else who may know the answer if I don't, because that's one thing that you have to familiarize yourself with. I think that makes you more efficient in education, period, and with helping students, is to familiarize yourself with where the resources are. So if you don't already know, there is a plethora of resources within each county, and please plug yourself in with who has that information, whether it's at the Board of Education, whether it is at your school counseling office, or whether it is through grant-funded opportunities such as Family Resources Centers, and also the American Job Centers, who's funded through our U.S. Department of Labor. There's plenty of resources, just know where to find them. And so let's move on to community as our final topic. I don't know why the font changed sizes, but going off of what I was just saying, our Family Resource Centers, I know that Murfreesboro City Schools has one. You can go online, you can search Family Resource Centers, and there's a map of the centers. I know that we have one in Warren County, and they all do different things. So the one in Warren County really helps a lot with school-age children, and it can be anyone in the school system, period. And they help them with all sorts of things such as food, living, like for example, the students that I had this year that they lost their loved ones suddenly in a car accident, they helped them even just get clothing for the funeral. So they can do a plethora of things. They can really watch out for your students and help them, and they can also plug into those other resources that you may not know are available. They work hand in hand with me through the American Job Center right now. We are working to put students that have specific needs, whether it's an IEP, whether it's a 504, whether it's just a free and reduced lunch. They have specific needs, and they are looking to give them jobs. And the American Job Center right now that's working with us is specifically looking they're kind of like the go-between, if you will, like a staffing agency. So they're going to pay the student, but they're going to pay them more to work at a specific job. And it can be even a job that they already have or that they're wanting to get, or if the school just needs help over the summer in their counseling office, sending out transcripts. If the school admits it, then the American Job Center will help fund that. They'll pay their salary, basically. So there's a multitude of resources. As I mentioned, our Family Resource Center is helping with that as well. So they're there to meet the needs of whatever the community has. A lot of counties have an office, so reach out to them and see if they can help. And I'll let Brent talk some.
Something that I run into a lot with my adult ed students, that in their families are housing issues. Yeah. And in a small county like Warren County, where we are, your housing is going to come down to word of mouth, what's available. But in a larger county like Rutherford County or Davidson County, housing options are going to depend a lot on whether or not you have built up credit. So something that I talk to my adult students about is once, especially if they're getting a refugee status, once they have a tax ID number or social security number, they need to open up that bank account, get what in some institutions they call a secure card that will help them. It will be like it starts off as a debit card, and then it turns into a sort of credit card, and they can build their credit that way to help, broaden their options as far as housing goes. So it's important when the opportunity arises to help orient immigrants that come from abroad, where in countries where building credit and going into debt on purpose is unheard of and looked down upon even. It's important to help them make that change of perspective, that financial change of perspective, so that they can, succeed and have more financial opportunities and even housing opportunities here in the United States.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things at Warren County Schools I know that's frowned upon is to give any legal advice. I think we're not able to do so. So, and I understand that and I comply with that. One thing that I think you could maybe be a workaround, I think that sometimes students and families are scared of maybe a legal process or scared of what they can do. And I know that it within my position with post-secondary ed and helping increase the knowledge base of what post-secondary education can mean is I had an immigration lawyer come and not talk about giving advice to the students, but to introduce herself as an ally and to introduce herself with basically like job shadow, if you will, like say, hey, this is what I do. This is what my job entails. This is where I went to college. This is how long it took me to go to college. And this is what I went to college for. And then just to know that, hey, there is someone within my reach that I can talk to if needed. And again, maybe, and then you can do that for a plethora of different opportunities as well, just to introduce the students to what their resources are around them. And then, Brittany, do you want to talk about the career aspect at all?
Well, I would just reiterate, again, any adult education facility in the state is going to be a great option for career exploration, finding jobs if you're out of work, and just what my classes provide is improving their English skills, their language skills, so that they can look for opportunities to move up. I had a very great experience with a student this year who, just because his boss heard that he was coming to my classes, as soon as he found out, he said, you know what, you're going to those classes, you're making an effort to learn English. I'm going to have you be my go-to guy. You're going to be the one that I used to communicate with the rest of the members of our team. It was, he got it. He kind of threw him in the deep end, but he didn't sink. He's definitely swimming, and I'm just very encouraged to see things like that happening just because they're making the effort. And we've also, something that we always want to see in adult ed, are measurable skills gains. He's also not only making the effort, but we're seeing results with him. He's gotten at least 2 measurable skills gains since he's been since he's been coming to my classes. Just learning, just improving their language is going to go a long way in not necessarily finding a completely new career, but moving up in the career they already have. And I almost forgot to mention that he also was given a raise before he was given those extra responsibilities.
I think that oftentimes you will find that if you become the community for any student, if you become their ally for any student, and if you just show yourself in the career path and there are scholarship opportunities, there are post-secondary ed opportunities, they will come to you for a multitude of reasons. One of the things I found this year is a lot of students, and not just this year, in years past, will come to me for help finding a career, finding a job, finding job shadow opportunities. And while I can't necessarily help find them a career, I can point them in directions with those who can. And I've established connections with different community organizations, community businesses that will allow students to come in and job shadow. And once they job shadow, then they might find, hey, that I really like this student. I would love to offer them a career after they're done with school. And I think that is wonderful. And if you will really reach out to your local businesses, I know in Warren County, and I'm sure you'll find in your area, that more often than not, they're willing to help. One fun fact is Brent and I taught ESL for 2 years at Warren County High School. And when I took a leave of absence for children reasons, Brent he came on and taught ESL in my place here at Warren County High School. And we shared a student that we interacted with during that time frame. And I know while that student was in high school, we had many concerns. We turned over to our resource centers. And I know Brent want to interject.
Yeah. I really want to say her name, but just out of respect for privacy, this is a student who was really tangential to our ESL classes that would come in often and just to especially during our advisory, what we call our advisories, like our homeroom classes. And we developed a relationship with the student. And, you know, we had some concerns for her during her high school career.
And this student actually turned out to be a McKinney-Vento student. So again, if you're not familiar, if you don't deal with McKinney-Vento students on a regular basis, please familiarize yourself with that program. It was vital in getting her to college, because if we didn't have McKinney-Vento and we didn't file that on her, she was unable to get any kind of family financial considerations and would not have been privy to any scholarship funds. But now, we were just talking about before we began recording this, how excited we were for her, because she rose above, she graduated from college, she's married, and she did that simultaneously while finishing college, and she's really thriving. She has a stable home environment. And do you want to tell them what she does now?
Yeah, she's working in our local courthouse as, I believe, a paralegal.
And she actually just got hired on by our, well, I can't tell you that because that maybe it will make you fine, but she got hired on by a prominent member in that community, and she is thriving and doing great. And we are so proud of her. And I truly believe it's because of the connections that we had. We showed her post-secondary opportunities. We found a way through our resources to make that happen. We were her allies. We were both invited to her college graduation. We were her community. And I know all those things sound simple, and all those things are like common sense. And you think if you have a caring heart, that's what happens, but it's not always the case. It takes someone going the extra mile, and someone going beyond just their job description to say, hey, let me figure out a way to make this happen. And once you do that, you have multiple opportunities. You have multiple kids with success stories.
Yeah, and this is a student. This would apply to any student. It's just what you need to encourage. Encouragement it goes a long way. This is a student who had confidence issues, and we just continue to encourage her, push her towards these opportunities that she didn't. I don't think at any step she was completely convinced of her capabilities, but she took the step, she took the leap. And it's paid off every time. Right now, she's prepping to take the LSAT so that she can get into law school. And I think we're just going to see her take that leap again. And I think it's going to pay off for her again. So you never know, what that encouragement, and it's been 7-8 years now since that relationship started, maybe longer for you.
She graduated in 2019.
Okay.
But we knew her since a freshman. So
yeah, and that encouragement, I would give more credit to Leah for that. But and that connection just went a very long way, to the point that she did make a particular point to thank us when she graduated and got that degree. And
tell them about your game nights too.
Oh yeah, so that year that I taught ESL, when Leah took her leave, something that helped establish those connections and bridge the gap between non-English speakers and English speakers in the area was a weekly game night that I organized in our downtown. Not a coffee shop. It's called Tops. It's a frozen yogurt place.
And deli.
Yeah, and deli. Great sandwiches. And that went a long way in just building those relationships and connections, and building trust. I think trust goes a long way, just as much as encouraging them does. Yeah.
And students like the one we're speaking of, oftentimes they're looking for a safe way to leave home. Maybe their home environment isn't wonderful, and they just need a loving environment to prove to them what they can do. And Britt was phenomenal in providing that, and in a way to continue to learn English in a safe zone, a safe environment for them to rest.
And especially for those recently migrated students, it was a great way for them to see, hey, I can get out in the community and not like worry about not worry about being accepted or judged or facing discrimination. It was a very inviting place, and a lot of my adult students, they'll be here for 20, 30 years, and their English will be as good as it was when they got here, essentially, because they don't realize and are coming to that realization that they can't get out in the community, they can't interact, people aren't going to give them a hard time. And I think those game nights went a long way in helping those high school students, see, especially the recently migrated ones, say, hey, no one's out to get me. That people just want to help me here.
And you don't know what you don't know. So if students don't know that there are resources, if students don't know that there are allies for them and that there are opportunities for them in the future, they don't know. And so it is our job as educators, it's our job as allies, it's our job to be that community for them. It's our job to show them what they can accomplish and can do. And one of the things that I love to do is to bring back students who have accomplished stuff that they can, because I can tell them all day one thing, but if they see it from their peer and that student comes back and tells them, like the student we're speaking of, and we'll just, for confidentiality purposes, call her student X. If student X were to come back and explain all that has been done for her and all that she has now accomplished because of that belief system, then they will learn more from her than they will from us. And I think that is also key, because you don't know, a lot of times these students migrated here, or their parents migrated here to for a better life. But what does better life mean, and what do new opportunities mean? And they want better for their children, but they don't necessarily know how to push them. And it's essential for us to help show them this is what it can mean, this is what you can do, and then your opportunities are endless in the future.
And what you run into a lot, again, with the recently migrated, is there is, I would say, I mean, I believe this, it's not just speculation. Like I know this, a disproportionate amount of migrants have a, less than a high school education. Often it's a 6th grade education at the most. And so they come here without that experience of, not even having graduated high school or knowing how to choose a college. So, there's a lot of just ground to cover there for those recently immigrated students and families whose parents have, a lower education level.
And one thing, I know we're about to wrap it up with time. Mr. Simpson actually Brent has a class that he has to go teach. So we're going to wrap this up. If you have any questions, I want you to please email us. So if you will please send your questions to this email address, if it's for Brent specifically, his email is just simpsonb at Warren School. So we're pretty simple here at Warren School System. You can put a B instead of the L for him. One thing I want to wrap it up and really make have him explain better to you in the next 3 minutes is his heritage class. He made mention of the fact that we collaborate sometimes for me to come into his heritage speaker classes. And that's something I want your school system to think about if that would benefit you. It definitely has benefited us in Warren Schools. And that is something that they created and that they mimicked. And so I'll let him talk about heritage.
Yeah, and it may be something that you already have it in your respective county. But the reason we started doing heritage classes is because students with that background knowledge of Spanish would be bored to the point of not doing enough work to even pass a class that was really simple for them. So maybe 5-6 years ago, we started implementing these Spanish heritage classes so that number one, they wouldn't bore them. Number two, we could build on the knowledge they already had, and also improve their literacy in their often their first language, and that varies. Even though they all have a background in Spanish, there is a range of skill levels in a heritage class. So you can't expect it to be all near native proficiency. Some of them, because they got here so early or were born here, their English is going to be much better than their Spanish as far as literacy skills go, and even speaking skills go. But our heritage classes help them improve that their Spanish writing and reading, and in many cases even their speaking. But it's a great way to avoid that pitfall of students having to take this foreign language class where they're bored through it, and help building those first language literacy skills, which actually go a long way in helping build their literacy skills in English.
And because Brent is so proficient, a lot of times we go to Brent with our transcripts. So if we have a problem with a newly migrated student and their transcript is fully in Spanish, Brent has been fabulous in helping us out, using his resources, calling the school in Mexico and finding out what was this class to help out. So I know that some of your questions that were sent to me were transcript specific. So use your resources as well. But I believe to end, I think the Heritage class has been also great in helping with the community mindset. So if you have any questions about scholarships, being an ally, community, please reach out. And I hope that we've helped you. And we will end this conversation with Mr. Simpson headed to class. Thank you so much.
Thank you.